Good afternoon, all of us. It's another great day that we have. And I'm the one privileged today to be your speaker and your host. And today, as you got the invitation, we are talking about the respiratory system. And many people may even think that they should not even listen to this. Probably they don't have the respiratory issues personally. But I am happy you're here because we all have a respiratory system. But before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Gladys, and I'm a super excited health and wellness enthusiast, trainer, and I try as much as I can to do the best I can to take care of my health and that of my family. I got involved in this industry 20 years ago. I had gone to school. I'm a trained teacher. I worked in the bank for some years. And one day, somebody who really cares about me told me that I ought to look into this opportunity, and it would help us as a family in terms of health, and it would help us even in terms of an additional income. And she also mentioned international travel. And from the onset, I attended a meeting, and over the years, I've attended many, many meetings where I've learned so much about health. And today being the day we talk about our bodies, our health, I want to narrow down more on that than any other thing. One of the things I would like to say even before we start is if you're on this call, you need to know each one of us has a very big responsibility on our individual health. And also, we are responsible for the health of the people around us, because we are normally told that ignorance has no defense. And so if we are hanging around people who are ignorant, and they are our friends and they are our relatives, they get affected on matters health. And that in turn also affects us. So we are all in this together. And I'm happy to see you on board. And I hope that if you're here for the very first time, this will be a good beginning where you can take this more seriously and get to understand more, so that you can be someone who can impact other people. Actually, in our industry, we say we are people empowering other people, and especially to great health. I'm a mother of two girls, 29 and 23. They are big beneficiaries of these trainings that I've attended on health matters, because in my family, we are actually victims of respiratory challenges. I grew up in a family where we are 5 of us, and my mom and dad, that makes us 7. And I grew up every time knowing that each one of us would have an allergy of one type or another. Some had eczema, some had, not the allergy where you just have the ENT, where you have itching of the ears, the throat. And a few others actually had challenges, a real challenge of the respiratory system, where they even used the inhaler. And so when I talk about the challenges of respiratory system, I can relate with it because I experienced firsthand the challenges that people go through when they have respiratory challenges. So once again, welcome, and let's go through this journey together so that we can learn more. Before anything else, let's look at, today we actually want to look at issues to do with the respiratory system in total, the whole sum. And many of us, we breathe effortlessly, and we take that for granted. When your lungs are healthy, your chest is clear, your inhalation is good, and we assume that all is well. But I can tell you, there's another category of people who don't have this luxury. And even as we don't know what tomorrow holds, we could find ourselves in those challenges. And we all did. When COVID came, remember when we were hit by COVID, everybody needed to know how to take care of their breathing system. And we have to continue with that journey because we don't know what to expect tomorrow. So I'll begin by first saying there are quite a number of challenges when it comes to the respiratory diseases. And as you can see there, I'll just mention them briefly. We don't have to be experts in this, but we can understand one or two things. So we have those people who have pulmonary disease where there's obstruction and it becomes chronic. So what does that mean? It means that the airways are actually, and the air sacs, they are less elastic. And so what happens is there's a lot of inflammation along the airway walls, and eventually that affects the lungs, because when there's obstruction, even the movement of the oxygen is not as easy as it should. And some people have excess mucus. It's called the plague, something like that, phlegm or something. And it can actually be a leading cause of the death. In fact, we have been told it's one of the leading causes of death is when people have those challenges of the breathing system. Then we have asthma. Asthma, it involves inflammation of the airways, and usually it's in response of triggers such as probably you're allergic to pollen, to dust, to cold weather, morning air, stress, chemicals. And what happens is that you end up struggling to actually get the air coming into your system. Then we have bronchitis. Bronchitis is where there's abnormal widening of the airways. So you find now that you have the mucus I talked about and the phlegm. And when you have that phlegm, it becomes very irritating. You see, like when you cough, you do that dry and the mucus is not coming out. And it stays there and it irritates and it really affects you. You can't have quality sleep. And that is also a problem. Then we have the cystic fibrosis. This is where actually there's, a cyst is something that grows like a growth. And it can actually bring challenges to the body, and eventually it can bring respiratory failure. So that could happen where there's fibrosis within the respiratory or even the lungs. And eventually that can also bring failure, as I've said. And then lung cancer, that actually now is a real tumor that becomes cancerous, and it can become quite a challenge. So of course, there are many other challenges. Okay, there could be other challenges. Like for me, I may have had the challenges of having allergies here and there, but for me that came out at some point as eczema. You find even the people who have eczema, they are the people who don't get full-blown those challenges we are talking about, but they have eczema that shows in terms of irritation on the skin. It could be near your at the arm levels, or it could be at the knuckles, it could be at your neck or the face, anywhere in the body, and it can really be uncomfortable. Even for children, we have pneumonia. Pneumonia definitely is caused by a bacteria, and it can be very lethal, or a virus, if not treated early. So people with chronic pneumonia, they need urgent attention. The minute you start feeling a sharp pain in your chest, and you start having those respiratory small challenges, don't assume, because pneumonia is a killer. Then we have TB. We all know about TB, which is also a bacteria infection. And that one is actually infectious. So that is something that many people get. It kills many, and some people do survive. And I think that one, people are more aware now, and they're able to do the treatment. We've seen other things like the flu and the virus, the disease like COVID, coronavirus, which we all know. I mean, I don't even need to go into the details. We all know what happened and what can happen, and that it can also kill, and all those kind of things. What are the causes of these respiratory diseases? One could be genetic. Let me begin with the genetic, because like if you find many, like a lady who is asthmatic, or even a dad who is asthmatic, you find that somehow the children or some of the children inherit that. So that could be genetic. But what happens with that is if the person who has the issue is able to sort it out completely, then that aspect of it being passed on to the child can actually be stopped. I've seen that happen for many, especially when you have a pregnant woman who is asthmatic. If she is able to take some precautions and be very serious about the health part of it, it's not a must for that asthma to go to the child. Then we have environmental, the air pollution, and other triggers like pollen and all those kind of things. Sometimes we don't have control for this, and sometimes we do. And so we have to be careful, especially people who do exercises outside. I see people running near the main roads. It's very risky because you are breathing in toxins, which you can actually do something about it. And that's why you're encouraged to do exercises very early in the morning or late in the evening, when some of those environmental challenges can be curbed much better, or the air is not polluted much in the morning. Smoking. We know smoking is a leading cause of things like lung cancer and other challenges, and it can be worsened if you have actual challenges like asthma. Those could trigger attacks. And you know that the people who smoke, they can also even affect other people. So if you know somebody who smokes around you, make sure that you don't get secondary smoke. Autoimmune conditions. If your immunity is low, there are issues with immunity, then it's very easy for you to have those challenges as regards to the respiratory system. So you find that all those things, autoimmune diseases could also be in other areas like the rheumatoid arthritis and quite a number of other challenges that we see because of that. Then, of course, we have chemicals, and we know chemicals are bad. Things like asbestos that have been produced in factories. The detergents we use can easily affect us without knowing, and they can be carcinogenic. And then, of course, there's the issue of diet and lack of exercise. If you're not exercising, meaning you're not getting enough oxygen to the smallest part of your body as well, and also now taking care of the respiratory system, that could be a challenge. And diet also, because if your diet is compromised, some of these things are triggered much more. They blow much more and they affect you. So now, what are the symptoms? Shortness of breath with activity, or sometimes without even activity, persistent coughs, wet coughs with mucus, with like an asthmatic attack is when you're actually trying to look for air and you can't get it. Some of the coughs are non-productive. They don't have the mucus. They don't remove that mucus in the throat. Chest tightness, you feel, so when you get those attacks, you get the tightness of the chest, and it's a very uncomfortable place to be. Wheezing, I've experienced that myself and part of my family. That was part of us. Then you have either rapid or shallow breathing, hoarseness, recurrent respiratory infections, where somebody is always having infections of the respiratory system, fatigue, a running nose, and body aches. Of course, we all know if you have a flu, it affects you from head to toe. It gives you headaches, your joints are aching just because of that flu, because that infection can affect the rest of the body as well. So when we talk about lungs, we need to look at how to improve this, how to prevent, how to eat right, how to hydrate. Very important also to hydrate, and, and get clean air. Remember when we were in school, we used to be told, breathe in, breathe out slowly, breathe in, out. The teachers, the PE teachers knew the importance of that. The only lesson they didn't give us was for us to continue doing breathing exercises. Actually, it's very healthy to do breathing exercises because an oxygenated body does not encourage disease to thrive, you know? So that is very, very important to note. So now, one of the things that really is very critical when it comes to our health generally, before I even get here now, I want to make it very clear that we all have body systems. And today we are looking at this system called the respiratory system. And every system is made up of organs. Like in this case, one of the main organs of the respiratory is the trachea, the nose, the lungs, air sacs. I mean, all those things, they are part of the small organs. Some are big that affect that system. Then now from the organs, we have the tissues, and then we go narrow down to the cells. And that is what we are most keen about. And that is the best solution you can give yourself. Because no matter what, if your cells are well taken care of, even when you have an infection, even when you get an attack, you overcome it very fast. Yeah, you overcome it very, very fast. So we all need to be familiar with what we call the healthy food pyramid. It's just a guide on what we need to do every other day to take care of ourselves and to feed our families much better. Below there, you can see there's physical activity and weight management. Definitely, if you have weight, it can progress into those challenges we are talking about. So if you have challenges of the chest and the asthma and the wheezing, if you cut weight, if it's there, it really helps in reducing those symptoms, and you feel much better. You live a more productive and healthy life. We've then taught physical activity. We need to exercise. Many times in Kenya, we ignore the aspect of proper exercise. I know many of us walk a lot. I personally like walking a lot, and I believe it helps a lot. But also there's that aspect of where you are deliberately doing exercise. And whenever you can go to the mountain areas or the forests where you do those long walks. It's important to exert your body in that way because you even are able to open your lungs better, your organs are well aerated, you have cleaner and fresher air, and it becomes very beneficial. And then, of course, below there, you can see whole grains. Whole grains are very important. What are whole grains? Brown rice. Anything from wheat is coming from the brown wheat flour. Soya, rice, brown rice. Things like sorghum and barley and spaghetti and all those things that we cook that are starchy. Ideally, they are supposed to be whole, not the white one. If you see anything looking white, completely white, and it's from the family of whole grains, then there's a very big deficit created in the body at that particular time, or every other time you eat that, and it will compromise how your health fights, even such diseases as the ones we are talking about. Then we can see fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables, we need to eat from about 6 servings on the minimum, going all the way to 10, 12, 15. The more, the better. The different colors, the different types, and we are talking of both fruits and vegetables. What is the reason? The reason is because fruits and vegetables, they actually boost your immunity. And when your immunity is boosted, it can fight any kind of disease. including what we are talking about today. So the people who have challenges with the respiratory system, if you increase your intake of the whole grains and the fruits and the vegetables, then you find that you have more quality healing. And what will happen is eventually you can actually overcome that completely, and you live a healthy life like everyone else. And in the fruits and vegetables, I'll mention 3 names. You can go and do your follow-up after this. We are talking about the carotenoids, the flavonoids, and the cruciferous. You can go out there and read more about those so that you understand, what do the carotenoids do for me? What do the flavonoids do? What do the cruciferous do? They're all part of protecting your cells, all your body cells. Then proteins are good, but as you age, you should not overdo them. And you need to cut down more on the animal-based proteins. They are heavy for the body. They are heavy for digestion. They are heavy for assimilation. And you need to do much more of the plant-based proteins. The beans, the peas, the green grams, all those ones, because they actually make the body alkaline. And an alkaline body does not incubate disease like a body that is more acidic. So just get to know that the more you eat the animal-based proteins to a higher extent, you are creating an acidic environment in your body, and that in itself is an environment where disease can thrive. So if you have respiratory challenges, you need to do those adjustments, and I can guarantee you in the next 2 to 3 months, you're going to start living a more normal life. So we need to cut down on those things and increase more of the others. Then fats and sugars, definitely, that's a zone where it's one of the biggest fights, because now all the refined foods we eat, they actually are categorized as sugars. That's glucose. And you know, too much sugar in the body is not good for any cell in the body, including the respiratory system. Any fat in the body is not good, because there are people even who get fatty liver. They have challenges with the lungs because of the excess fat in the body, because fat does not choose which organ not to go to. Fatty deposits can be found in many tissues and many organs of the body, and that is not good. So we need to reduce our sugar intake and our refined starch intake, and more so the juices that have a lot of sugars, high sugars, industrial sugars in them. That's a no-go zone. If we can cut them completely, you start feeling better. Now, what happens is that we've actually inverted this pyramid upside down. And as you can see, we have minimal physical activity. I'm sure if we were to do a survey here, we'd find that 3/4 of us maybe do not exercise regularly. Maybe 1/4 of us could be a bit overweight, or maybe a half, I don't know. Then whole grains going like that, you see that the way we've inverted it typically, because of the modern diet that we can see there. If you think this is proper diet, this is not true. This diet is devoid of nutrients that actually feed our cells. Now, we are here to give a solution, because the institution we deal with was created basically to help teach the ordinary person how to take care of their health on the preventive side. So we are here to do more of the prevention, and anyone who you know that could have a real problem, then it could be part of the treatment as they go through the doctor's treatment. You can double up with that, and you find that you get faster healing and more permanent. So let's be conscious of what we eat. Again, in here, we are coming with a solution, because even the way we farm, the way we harvest, the way we transport, the way we store, the way we cook, the way we prepare food, in itself can challenge the quality of the food that we are eating. So all those factors put together, plus all the things we've seen, the chemicals, the skin cares we use, the sprays we use, the deodorants we use, the skin care, I should have talked much, all those things, they come to compromise. And where you're weak at, that's where you find you get most challenges. So if you are weak with the respiratory system, it keeps doing more recurring instead of healing. And what we want is to heal. And remember, one of the scientists, I think it was Hippocrates, was one of the old doctors in the 80s. They actually said, if you don't eat food as medicine, you'll end up eating medicine as food. And you'll agree with me, because many people are popping in a lot of pills for treating. But remember the old saying, prevention is better than cure. We all know that. And whose responsibility is it to prevent? Ourselves. So thank you so much as I take you through now the preventive, the curative part of it, not curative, the preventive part of it, where you come and fill this gap, because this gap plays a big role even in the digestive system. Many years ago, the World Health Organization actually projected that by 2020, chronic diseases will be accounting to 3 out of every 4 people who die, 3 die from these chronic diseases you can see there: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, stroke, chronic respiratory disease, and obesity. And today we are actually tackling the chronic respiratory. Now, many years ago, in the 40s, the US government had done this research of what I've explained to you. Why is disease getting more common? And because, you know, we all do things to give solutions to the world, Neolife was formed because of that. This gentleman you can see here called Jerry Brassfield, he was born a serious asthmatic person. He was very asthmatic all his childhood, the early childhood, and every year he almost died during the winter. And that was attributed by the diet the mom gave them. You'd give them a lot of fatty diet, and definitely the farming community, the weather, the pollen and everything, the snow. And what happened is that while he was in his almost getting to the teens or thereabout, the mom was explained to something that can help alleviate his asthma. And she was encouraged by a friend to increase her giving vitamins to the sun, as well as some omega fish oil. And that's what cured his asthma completely. And now this guy, from that age, is now 84, having been sorted on asthma completely, never having to have attacks thereafter. So that is how the business was built. And the business was built on the mantra of making the world a healthier and a happier place. So for you to be healthy, you must be willing to sit down and be taught about the body, the systems, so that you live a healthy life. And once you understand that, then in turn, you can be able to tell somebody else. We do have a scientific advisory board, and you know, scientists out there, their work is to formulate things, to study, to give solutions. But now the difference with our scientific advisory board, they actually want everything they teach, everything they learn, to go to the ordinary person like you and I. And so what do? Just like the doctors are taught, we are also empowered to understand these things. And as a lay person, you can totally be empowered. And in turn, you empower somebody else. And I take pride in that. And my prayer is the 134 right now who are on the call, that we can be able to be ambassadors of going to make the world a healthier and a happier place. So I want to give you the solution the scientists found. The first one, and this is very important. If I don't say anything else, this page is the most important. I remember we said we have systems, body systems, including that respiratory system we are learning today. The systems are made up of organs, tissues, and cells. So typically when you look at a cell, we ideally are supposed to have our cells as healthy as possible. That's why we need to feed them according to the healthy food pyramid I've shown you. When these cells are healthy, nutrition can come in and the waste can go out. And therefore you have a healthy cell. And this healthy cell will in turn build healthy tissues, healthy organs, healthy systems. But when your cell is compromised because you're not eating the whole grains we talked about, that oil, you can see the whole grains in this container here, wheat, rice, and soya. That oil that is extracted from the grain is put in a capsule to come and repair the damage of the unhealthy cells that we have. And when these unhealthy cells are lubricated with the right oils from the wheat, rice, and soya, then in turn, these cells become healthy. And when the cells are healthy, then the systems become healthy in turn. So if you're on the call, the most important thing you need to know, you need to have TreaNN. TreaNN is a healthy grain concentrate. It's not a medicine. It's a vitamin made from wheat, rice, and soya, purely for rechanging these cells so that you have healthy cells. And for our children, we have the Vita Squares, because we do have many children who also have the respiratory challenges. And so the Vita Squares are friendly for the children, and for us, it's the TreaNN. Everybody on this call needs to get their TreaNN this week, if you don't have. It's very, very important. It's the basis of nutrition. So TreaNN comes as number one there. Then now moving on, we need to boost our immunity. Remember, most of respiratory challenges are autoimmune. And autoimmune means what? We need to increase our immunity. And when you increase your immunity, your respiratory system is part of the systems that benefit. Not to mention even being anti-cancer, anti-aging, healing faster. So carotenoid is, as the name suggests, is made from fruits and vegetables that protect the oily parts of our body. And it has been patented, and it has a capacity of boosting your immunity by 37% in 20 days. So that's very, very powerful. And so you have in you 115 kgs of raw fruits and vegetables in every bottle. If you're on the call, your eyes are not okay, don't wait for them to go deteriorate. Keep taking your carotenoid complex and the fruits that are made from the carotenoids, and you find that you increase that a lot. And for each one of us, because we have capacity to be cancer, to be affected by cancer, we need to also do that to remove all those cancer cells that may be growing in our bodies. The other element, very important, is the fish oil. Fish oil is very, very critical for the noso health, ENT, and the entire respiratory system. We have talked about inflammation. We've talked about mucus. We've talked about the phlegm. Omega-3 is very, very important for that. So please know that omega is not just for children. It's for everyone. Now, what's the difference? Our omega has, it is all 8 omegas, the entire family of 8 essential fatty acids. They are called EFAs. So out there, you'll find fish oils there, sold, that's okay. Some only have what we call the EPA and DHA. Most of them have the 2 main ones and maybe 1 extra one. But with this one, you have the entire family of the 8. And that gives you very good scoring in terms of taking care of your respiratory system, circulatory system, the nervous system, including the brain. If you want to increase the brain size, the cognition, the recall, omega-3 is very, very important. Even for our elderly parents, they really need this because of the inflammation. And then each one of us needs a multivitamin. Each one of us. Remember, we have many vitamins that you need for the body. We have many minerals you need for the body. And when we looked at our farming story from the farm to the table, we've seen that right from the soil to the harvesting, to the transportation, to the storing, to the preparation and cooking, there's a compromise in our diet. And no wonder so many people have health challenges in the world today. So each one of us need a multivitamin, which has all these vitamins and minerals. And even on top of that, it has enzymes. Enzymes are very important for metabolism and some good protein. And so you find that this is very, very important. And remember, oxygen and the blood, the movement of the circulatory system, they help a lot in moving the oxygen into the body as well. So you also need to have your red blood cells in check, your T killer cells in check, so that you have you are basically taken care of. Those 4 products are very, very important, and that's what forms the ProVitality pack. If you remember, we started by saying this is what we are, the way we are supposed to eat. We've inverted this pyramid upside down. There's a very big gap in here. ProVitality fills that gap. So that is the beginning for everything. You have a chest problem, you have eczema, you have anything to do with the respiratory system or any challenge of the body. It all begins at the ProVitality pack. Then let's look at a few other specifics as I close. These are some of the benefits that the ProVitality has. You need to, you can screenshot that so that you know. When you do your ProVitality pack, you have the threonine to take care of your cells. You have carotenoids to boost your immunity. You have omega to tackle the balancing of the cells and inflammation and the brain and the joints. You have the multivitamin to do the rest of the work for you. So this product is very critical. It's a world first for us, very, very important. And you can take a screenshot so that you can even learn more and actually share with as many people as possible. So it will give you energy, it will give you antioxidant protection, it will give you lifelong heart health, immunity, we've talked about that, brain function, that's another added advantage, flexible joints, clear vision, and all the things we've talked about, the respiratory system, you get benefits there. That's the beginning. You begin there. Take care of your cellular nutrition. And then now we see what else can you do? Remember, during COVID, we all were told that vitamin C is very important. Vitamin C is very important for the respiratory system and for boosting boosting your immunity. So we have the chewable one for the younger one, or anyone who would like to have it on the go in the office or on the move. Then we have this one, which is sustained release. It stays more in the body, gives you more benefits. Then we have something we call a herbal respiratory formula. It's a complex with many herbs that the scientists have looked at and seen that these are the herbs that are specifically produced, or they were specifically created by God for the respiratory system. So that combination of the ProVitality and respiratory complex is very, very important for you to be able to start returning your respiratory system back to normal. And you do that for a period of 4 to 6 months, you start living a normal life. You start living a healthier life. And then, of course, you can add in the Neolife Shake or the Nutri-Shake because of building the damage that is already done in the system. The proteins are body builders. And whenever there's damage in the body, or when the body needs to build new cells, new organs, we need to have the 22 amino acids required. And this new shake will give you that. And it's also very good for people who do active sports, so that you also take care of your respiratory system. Remember, your lungs are very critical if you live an active life. So that shake is very important for both children and for grown-ups, and you can learn more right there. Then in addition, you can add zinc and garlic. Why zinc and garlic? Garlic is an anti-bacteria, antifungal, and antivirus. Garlic, these are natural. It's a complex made from onions, chives, kitunguu saumu, and leeks. That combination gives something we call good allicin. And that allicin, when it gets to the body, is taken up to the small intestines and it bursts there, and it is distributed to the body to kill the pathogens that could actually affect your respiratory system. Many people have TB or pneumonia or flu. All those things, they come because of bacteria and virus and all those kind of things. If you want to stay away from taking too much of the antibiotics, every other time you're antibiotics, this is a very good place to be at. Garlic allium, very, very important. And just in case you're on this call and you've never done a deworm for a long time, because we do have viruses and pathogens in our system, garlic is very, very important and it will help you. Then, of course, we know zinc is good for immunity. We were told during COVID, take vitamin C and zinc and A, D, and so many others. So zinc is also very important because of the healing. Where there's damage, especially the smokers, people who smoke, there's a lot of damage within. The people who are having that breathing problem, there's inflammation. That one is healed by zinc. Zinc is a natural healer for any wound, whether it's ulcers in the stomach, in any lining, anywhere. The healing is done by zinc. So zinc is very important. Then finally, you can go read more about CoQ10. CoQ10 is an enzyme that these days is very important and people are learning more about it because it actually activates your cell at that area we learned in biology called mitochondria. At the mitochondria is where energy is produced in the cells, and in turn, it goes to the rest of the body. So CoQ10 is also a good place there, and it also will make sure that the DNA is protected and it is taken care of. For our children, if you have a child who is asthmatic, or they're always having those infections and flus, if they are very small, they are below 2 years, you can start them out with Liquivite because this one is a liquid. The ones who are older and they can chew, once in a while, you need to have them taking their vitamin C. It's chewable, it's friendly. Please don't buy your children sweets. Buy them vitamin C, let them take that vitamin C. And even if they are going to boarding school, these are very good products to use, as long as when they open it, they close it well to avoid it getting air too much in there. And then, of course, we have the Vita Squares and the VitaGuard that boost the immunity and give the overall well-being of a child. Let me give a testimony of this product you can see on the screen. As I told you, I have 2 children. My firstborn is 29. When I joined Neolife 20 years ago, my firstborn had very bad tonsillitis and chest discomfort, and my lastborn had bronchitis. It was definitely going to develop to full-blown asthma because my brother and sister were asthmatic. We have that in our family. I put them on. This is the product I gave my kids. I gave them Vita Squares, VitaGuard, NutriShake, and Omega-3 religiously for a period. And I can tell you for the last 20 years, I've not had to have worry with my children and their health, especially at that particular time when they already had so many health challenges and they had taken a lot of antibiotics. So that one, I can tell you, take it to the bank. You'll take care of your children in a way you can't believe it, and your grandchildren and your sister's children, and there will be a very big difference. I can tell you, take it to the bank. And then, of course, we have the respiratory. If a child has serious asthma attacks, now you can put the respiratory formula. Maybe you take a tablet a day where you crush it and put it in their shake or their food and you give it to them. So that is very, very important for the children. Over and above that, remember we've said our respiratory system can be affected by using chemical detergents. There are people who really get affected by even a spray here, a spray there that is chemical. So it would be good you explore into this Go Green. Go Green non-toxic home cares. If you have young children, please make sure you are cleaning their utensils with the LDC. No chemicals whatsoever. Even the cleaning detergents, the G1 and the soft, will not affect their skin, and it will not affect their inhaling those chemical, when we wash the clothes with the chemical stuff. And even the Super 10 for cleaning the floor to ensure that the environment is clean. We have more to this. Even the carpet glue, we should have mentioned, because the carpet is a big source of trigger for respiratory diseases. So the carpet glue is fantastic. You clean the carpet while it's in the house regularly, and it doesn't have to affect people, especially where there are cats. The carpet glue would be very good because it will maintain those, even the seats, and it won't affect the child or even a grown-up on the respiratory area. We talk about even bathing, the soaps we use for bathing. They could be triggers to the respiratory challenges. So we have the gel there, shower gel, which is mild. We also have PCC for the younger children. And where there are allergies, like the eczema I talked about, or maybe a few wounds even in the nose, where you can actually apply the aloe vera gel for faster healing. This one is the first aid. And I'll give the last testimony. I need to be finishing. Last week, because it's been very cold. Last week, we have this habit at home. When it's cold, you put your hot water bottle in your bed, in the blanket. And last week, actually, the beginning of this week, my water bottle broke in my bed and the water was hot. And I knew I'm done. But what happened is that I remembered I have aloe vera gel. So I quickly removed my trouser, grabbed the aloe vera, got a generous amount, and I applied everywhere where the water had run on me. I kept doing that every 10 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 10 minutes. Can I tell you, I did not get a single scratch. I never got a sore. And yet the water was very hot on the hot water bottle. So aloe vera is a very good thing to have in the house for first aid and for children, especially those who are getting eczema. Eczema is a challenge that comes on the skin, but it could be more respiratory than one can think. And it's also autoimmune. So we have many other benefits for what we do. If you find anyone out there who has joint issues, stress, issues with forgetting, weight, heart, energy, digestive, immunity, sugar imbalance, sugar levels, men issues, women issues, those ones are mainly, whether it's infertility, whether it's having the fibroids and the cancers, and children's health. We have solutions to all that. And remember, we said it's all about prevention. It's not curative. We are talking about prevention. And even the ones who have challenges can be able to alleviate that as they get the treatment from the doctor. So when you do this, you're investing in your health. You're not taking anything out. Never forget that you are the one who is the driver of your health and the people around you. And especially if you are a father and a mother, very critical, or even a grandmother, you can play a very big role there. Then finally, if you are on the call and you'd like to actually make it a business so that eventually you can increase your income to afford these products and to afford them for your parents, or even to buy them at directly from the company. So that is the call we are giving you. When you come in there, you can come and partner with Neolife so that you access the products directly for yourself. And then all these other benefits you can see there. You can take the screenshot there. You can be able to benefit as a consumer. Or you can be a consumer and somebody who supplies to the people around them. Or you can be a consumer, a supplier, and a business builder, where you come and build a business based on this health we are talking about. So there are other benefits that you'll get around us. You learn a lot of information. There's a lot of personal development, leadership, being able to train, being able to talk, being able to be healthier for longer, active. You will have relationships as we keep doing this, and eventually you can have residual income. So thank you so much, guys, for being on the call with me. I don't take it for granted. And we are here just to discover a better way of life. And don't forget, we are on a mission to make the world a healthier and a happier place. Thank you so much, guys. I don't take your coming in for granted. I truly appreciate each one of you is on the call. Now we are 152. God bless you. And let's meet again next week, same time, for another topic that can take us to the next level. Asante sana.